Hi, I'm Patrick O'Connell, principal at Ford Elementary School, and I'm about to share a book with you. I read this book and created a video. This book is called A Lady Has the Floor, and it is a really great story. I think you'll love it. I did. By Kate Hannigan, author, and then it's illustrated by Allison J. And it's a story about Belva Lockwood and how she speaks out for women's rights. And there's no better time to read and share this book than in March of 2020. It's Women's History Month, and our celebration at Ford got cut a little bit short because of the upcoming school closures. But at least I wanted to be able to share this book with people out there. I want to give a shout out to Miss Dawes and Miss Copeland from our school, who really helped create a great celebration, started a great month. It just got cut short by the school closure, so we're not going to let that spoil our party. Hope you enjoyed this book. Also, I'm kind of a rookie with the editing of video, so I hope this goes well. Thank you for joining me. And tended chores from sunup to sundown with her brother and sisters. Bright-eyed and dirty-faced, Belva was not afraid of snakes or rats or nothing. She could hold her own with any of the boys in Niagara County, New York. Belva was smart too. At 14, she untied her girlish braids and took a job as head teacher at the one-room schoolhouse. Belva led the students in spelling and sums. But when payday came, she was shocked to discover that her salary was half what male teachers earned. Belva set her sights on a teaching degree, but her father disapproved. College is for men, no women allowed. Belva packed her bags, wanting to see for herself. Though the school discouraged it, Belva enrolled in math, science, and politics, classes typically limited to men. When she completed college in 1857, Belva graduated with honors. Striking out on her own, Belva taught at schools around New York, but she didn't like how girls were treated. Teachers wouldn't let girls speak in front of the school or participate in physical activity. Belva remembered the reformers she'd heard speak during college. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton demanded equal rights for women. Maybe, Belva thought, those rights should begin with girls. She tried an experiment. Belva invited her female students on stage beside the boys to deliver speeches while the whole school listened. It proved a success, so Belva brainstormed with Susan B. Anthony to hammer out a bigger plan. Together, they pushed for every school in New York to teach public speaking to boys and girls. Belva didn't stop there. Remembering her rough and tumble farm days, she insisted on physical activities for girls just like the boys. Gymnastics, nature hikes, ice skating. Soon all her students were allowed to tumble, trek, glide, and play. Belva hungered for an even bigger stage. After the Civil War, she believed a new day was dawning in the nation's capital. America was rebuilding, and fresh ideas were pushing stale ones aside. So she waved goodbye to New York and moved to Washington, D.C., lugging her tapestry bags, heavy trunks, and big dreams. Eager to fight for justice and fairness, Belva applied to law school, but she quickly learned those doors were closed to women. Belva kept knocking. She heard no again and again, until finally one law school said yes. Belva and 14 other women pushed through the doors and into the classrooms. Her lamp burning late into the night, Belva read, wrote, and memorized. But the school blocked women from attending lectures and studying with men. One by one, the other women began to quit. When it came time for graduation, the male students refused to sit beside the remaining women on stage. Belva hung on even when the school refused to present her with a diploma. I was not to be squelched so easily. In September 1873, Belva wrote a letter to the president of the university. His name was Ulysses S. Grant, and he was also president of the United States. I have passed through the curriculum of study in this school and am entitled to and demand my diploma. Days later, Belva opened her door to a special delivery. It was her diploma, with President Grant's swooping signature clear to see. Belva stood proud as one of the first women in America to earn a law degree. An attorney now, Belva helped poor widows, Civil War veterans, and freed slaves fight for what they deserved. But certain high courts refused to let women lawyers argue. Bang, bang, sounded the gavel. Belva protested to the U.S. Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. The justices there told her what she'd already heard before. No women allowed. Belva refused to be silenced. Belva battled for women's rights to practice law in any court. Nothing was too daring for me to attempt. Over 5 years, she drafted new rules, lobbied congressmen to her side, and argued for equality. In 1879, Belva won. Standing tall before the marble columns and the 9 black-robed justices, Belva filled the chamber of the Supreme Court, for the first time in America's history, with a woman's voice. Working in her office, Belva noticed men riding past on horseless vehicles. They were getting to courtrooms faster than Belva, who walked or rode in her carriage. Never wanting to be left behind, Belva bought one of those contraptions for herself and became the first woman to pedal around the nation's capital on a bicycle. Belva spent every day fighting for equality, and she was determined to conquer another realm, the ballot box. She called for women's suffrage, the right to vote, and clamored for women's voices in laws and governing. Why not nominate women for important places? Is not Victoria, Empress of India? Have we not among our country women persons of as much talent and ability? Is not history full of precedents of women rulers? It is quite time that we had our own party, our own platform, and our own nominees. We shall never have equal rights until we take them, nor respect until we command it. As the 1884 presidential election grew closer, Belva lost patience with her old friends Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. If women wanted to vote, they should seize the moment. She mailed a letter to a women's newspaper urging women to act. Editor Marietta Stowe shared Belva's ideals. Having run for governor of California in 1882, Marietta was ready to see women enter political contests. Marietta fired a letter right back. It said the National Equal Rights Party was nominating Belva for president and Marietta as her running mate. It was in September, only 2 months until the election. Belva got busy. She jumped onto trains and campaigned from town to town. I cannot vote, but I can be voted for. Her opponents got busy too. Men paraded through the streets in bonnets and gowns, making fun of Belva. Newspapers said she dyed her hair, wore scarlet underwear while riding her bicycle, anything to embarrass her. Belva ignored them and kept right on campaigning, bold, determined, and strong. Belva said, I was ready to stand. It was not for the number of votes I should get, but for the chance to prove that a lady can be a candidate. When Election Day arrived in November 1884, Belva's name was printed in clear letters, as strong a statement as she'd made in classrooms and courtrooms. The first woman to appear on ballots for president, she received more than 4,000 votes. It wasn't enough to beat Grover Cleveland for the White House, but it was enough to start people thinking. Bold, determined, and strong, Belva Bennett Lockwood was not afraid to raise her own voice so that everyone, girls and boys, women and men, African Americans and Native Americans, widows and veterans, could be heard.